think about it, right?
I hate the fake news, man.
We gotta use common sense, and this is what I'm thinking about, right? The whole Sudiksha situation made national news, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if Sudiksha was found or was spotted, who
Mm-hmm.
spotted her? Wouldn't you think that it would be on the news? It'd be on the news
Mm-hmm.
because there's no way that they found out Sudiksha was alive and well that they wouldn't say nothing about it. The news would have picked it up. Somebody would have said something. It would have been on the news. And second, okay, now all of a sudden we have all these people coming out here talking about Sudiksha was spotted. All right, we already know that this whole thing has been a cover up. We
Mm-hmm.
already know that people might have been paid to keep quiet.
Mm-hmm.
So who's to say all these people that's coming out, okay? Who's to say that this fake news that's out here is not part of the agenda to keep people away from
The case.
talk from the case,
Mm-hmm.
to make people think, you guys don't need to talk about Sudiksha missing anymore. She's been spotted, she's well, to prevent people from talking about it the way we've been talking about it.
It would have,
And a lot of us are falling for it.
and they
Gotta
keep
use your
making
common
content
sense.
about it. That's not fair. She would have been on the news, not on YouTube.
People give up very fast. The moment that people start hearing all over the place, Sudiksha's alive, Sudiksha was spotted, this and that, people will stop asking for justice. People will
Mm-hmm.
stop asking, where's Sudiksha? Come out on YouTube and start, posting videos about Sudiksha was spotted, Sudiksha's alive. Come on, if you don't have no content to make, talk about something else. But
Mm-hmm.
don't sit out here putting out fake news on a case so important, on a case so fragile.
Yep.
Okay, nobody knows what happened to this little girl. God forbid she could be dead, right? Or she could be out there being abused by some, sick people.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of focusing on the problem, focusing on keep asking these questions,
And
where is she?
spreading fake news, man.
But you sitting out here talking about she's alive.
Joshua went to Puerto Rico. Okay, that's a fact. But as far as Sudiksha being spotted, we don't know that. Where's the proof? It would have been all over the internet, the news, everywhere, not just
Okay,
YouTube.
her parents came out and said she was drowned. Okay, and then
Right?
if she's alive, why don't her parents come back out and say, hey,
She was spotted.
we think she was spotted. Our daughter's alive and safe. Thank you to everybody that have put all the effort forward to help with the case, to help find our daughter. Our daughter was found. Da 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 da. Nobody said anything except for these mumbo
YouTubers.
jumbos on social media talking about all
But it
this
was on
craziness.
TikTok first,
Because because they wanna make content. Yo, there's a lot of things you can talk about to make content, but you don't have to come out here and spread fake news because you see somebody else say it and then you say it too. And then somebody else pick it up and say it too. And then now everybody's spreading fake news on the case. Like I said, who's to say that all the people that paid, that's paid to keep this case quiet, that's paid to close this case, or the same people that's paying to spread these fake news? You got to think about that too. Because if anything, if they found Sudiksha and found anything, if she's found dead or alive, that she's been kidnapped or she's been unalive, some people's gonna get in trouble. some people's gonna get in trouble.
For
So
sure.
obviously, they don't want that. They don't want that.
Here is definitely worth a watch. This woman says that she lives in the Dominican Republic and that she was trafficked in 2014. She says she was held hostage and against her will. She said that part of the definition of trafficking is specifically coercion of bringing someone to a place, promising them something. She said that when she called 911, the police showed up and she physically saw money being exchanged, that police officer being paid off. She said the person that trafficked her knew specifically of other houses where Venezuelan and Colombian women were living where they were being trafficked. She says she knows of too many Dominican Republic police getting paid off. Tips, bribery, turning a blind eye to situations. She also says it happens within the government. She said there's no government systems in place for reporting complaints or any type of reporting. She said that's why you see no stats, because there are no systems in place. She said the people of the Dominican Republic are extremely proud that they turn a blind eye to what's really happening in their country because they are so proud. She says even her putting this report out there, she says it's bad for her safety. She also says if there were a reward for Sudiksha Konanki, that if she were in fact kidnapped, these people would come forward. She says that people go missing, but also people take dogs just because they want the reward money. Her videos are definitely worth a watch, and it really gives you an idea of what it's like living in the Dominican Republic, an idea of what their safety is like, and any sort of corruption at the top.
And I know everybody is innocent until proven guilty, so I would hate to sit here and accuse him of doing something that he didn't do at all. I've made a lot of videos. The things that I find out about him only make me more curious. But this is what I wanted all along. We had the surveillance, which I've got on another video, of everybody leaving to go to the beach and then all the friends coming back except for Joshua and him. His account was that he had a few accounts. One was that they were sick. He last saw her on the beach before they were, passed out because he left the water. Another one was that a wave swept them away, but he didn't see where it swept her to, but he left and passed out. I mean, I get that he was probably like completely inebriated, so maybe he remembers, maybe he doesn't. I have no idea, but this video is interesting for sure. Yeah, I do fear the worst.
This video is definitely worth a watch. This young woman was staying at the very same hotel Sudiksha Konanki and her friends were staying at that very same week. She said she was never made aware of a missing persons case. She never saw police officers, never saw investigators. She said she left on Friday, and it wasn't until she got on the plane that she found out that there was a missing persons case at the very same hotel she was staying at. Now, I will say this, Sudiksha Konanki's friends did not let authorities at the hotel know she was missing until 4 p.m. on Thursday. So that could be some of it. It's also a massive resort. They've got 8 pools or so, but take a look at this. Power issues, water issues, the refrigerator in the room leaking all over the floor. She also said that the customer service was awful. There were a ton of people in the lobby of the hotel charging their phones. She said that the power was off ever since Tuesday morning. It wasn't until Thursday morning, according to the hotel, Thursday morning at 2:13 a.m. that the power finally came back on. Now we know that Sudiksha went missing that very same morning on Thursday between the hours of 6 and 9 a.m. What are your thoughts about all of this? Write in the comments below. This young woman said she will not go back to that hotel. She will go back to Punta Cana.
Why are they not showing the footage? Why are they not showing the footage from this camera?
What happened to her at 4 o'clock in the morning? Where was she? Why did the parents close the case and claim she was drowned? Come on, guys.
We need to fight to reopen the case, not spreading lies.
The case needs to be reopened. The case needs to be reopened. There has not been any conclusion that is based on any factual findings.
I do hear her name mentioned still, and the only time I hear it mentioned, I just heard it last week from a local YouTube news person here in Dominican Republic, mentioning still how angry they are at how extensive her search efforts were, and how for their own people they are never that extensive. They're never that well. They're never done to that extent. They're very angry about that Sudiksha search and that it was done the way it was done. They're very angry that so many people were involved. They're very angry about the drones and just the big search in general. I don't understand it, to be honest, but when somebody's missing, you search for them. If your own people don't want to search for you, that's your problem. But again, she was a foreigner on vacation in another country, and so what was done needed to be done. But they're very angry about that here, and that's the only time I hear her name. I will say that after these few months, I have had a lot of time to think about my opinion, I would say my final opinion about all of it, and there's two things that I have not changed my mind about at all. Number one of my last videos I posted as in regard to what I think happened, and that is that her body was removed and it was done with help from a local. I still believe that. I still believe that that's why she hasn't been found. I'm not going to change my mind about that. And I really think that over time the truth is going to come out. I think that the rewards that were offered just weren't, the news just didn't reach the people it needed to reach, and that's why we didn't ever hear any more. It's unfortunate, but I think that that's the case. And then the other opinion that I have that hasn't changed at all is I'm extremely just disappointed and disgusted in her parents, regardless of any religious or cultural preferences. I think that not wanting to have your child's body is something weird. I think that coming to peace with what your child did and, feeling embarrassed about it and that they passed is one thing. Not wanting their body is just weird. I'm never going to agree with her parents, and I can't respect them for that portion of it. We're all entitled to our opinions, but that's how I feel about that.
There has not been any conclusion. It's pretty much these people said, okay, we give up. That's pretty much what it is.
The moment the parents spoke. Yep.
Mm-hmm. That's what it seems like. At least that's what they made it seem like.
Yeah.
But in all reality, it's a big cover up. It's a cover up. Because we know that this is not how government officials operate. Yeah. Investigation is not done that way. This is not that was not an investigation.
There was no investigation done, okay?
There was no, these people they look in the ocean, they didn't find nothing, okay? There was no search, no real search made, because if you're searching for a missing person, you're not gonna give up in a few days, okay? You don't have any clue, okay? You just made a baseless claim that she was drowned.
But what about the other people that was drowned? They came back.
Yeah. Find no proof, you found no evidence, you just came out in people's faces and tell people, hey, yeah, she's drowned. And then you expect everybody to go along with it and take it. What are we? Fools, dummies? And then we should allow you to close a case like that? When somebody's life is on the line? They should be out here talking about dead or alive. We gotta find her. Dead or alive, we gotta find her. And after we find her, those people gotta be held accountable. Because the girl was not drowned, and she's not spotted anywhere. These are people spreading fake lies, fake news, and I think the people who started this fake news actually got paid. Okay, just my opinion, my logical opinion. These people got paid to spread the lie.
Yep.
This is false. This is merely just a rumor and likely making it up to take the heat off of DR.
Adding up in either of these cases. I'm a true crime medium. I ask questions. I'm not here to solve the case and let the evidence always lead the path to true justice. But as a true crime medium that has worked on hundreds of true crime, cold cases, and missing person cases, I have a lot of questions. Sudiksha actually disappeared in the Dominican Republic, which is a country with one of the highest trafficking rates in the world. It is known as a corridor for human trafficking, where underground networks are established and filter out to other countries. Ryan Shukta went missing in British Columbia, where human trafficking networks operate alongside these transient resort towns. Why isn't the human trafficking angle taken more seriously when it comes to investigating missing person cases? For example, Ryan, whose family, friends, and those who are concerned about his welfare have continued to go back to Sun Peaks every year for the last 7 years looking for any type of evidence that he's on that mountain, and they have never found a single piece of his existence on that mountain. Yet there was a claim that wasn't investigated by an individual that said that they heard a man yelling at the time of his disappearance, "Get in the effing truck." Why was that lead not further investigated? Sudiksha went missing at 4:50 a.m. in the morning near a beach in the Dominican Republic. It is a country with one of the largest human trafficking rates in the world. And it's interesting to me because I don't believe that she drowned. It's just my intuitive, when I connect to her energy, when I connect to her energy, I feel like she's still alive. And I know that's going to upset some people, but I don't feel that she drowned. I don't believe that they will recover a body from the water. I also find it interesting when I double checked my intuition by doing some research that the water where she disappeared has a reef around it, which is why sharks don't go into the area. So I suspect, and my intuition says, that she was stumbling and sick when another person who took advantage of this vulnerable moment where there were no other people on the beach could have convinced her to go with them, that they would help her feel better and get her medical attention. And I believe it could have been a weak moment for a human trafficker to take advantage of her. Now, by God, I hope that that is not the reality. I hope that she's found safe and alive, of course. But this angle of looking at how human trafficking could play into both of their disappearances is something that investigators need to take more seriously. A drowning could simply cover an abduction. And by the way, in Dominican Republic, a lot of human trafficking, kidnapping occur by boat. So it's very possible that someone could have come in by boat and picked her up as well. There were no cameras on the beach. So my question is, were they really lost and just disappeared, or were they taken? What do you think? Let me know in the comments.
Especially the girl dancing, they kept saying it's Sudiksha. That's not her. This girl is big. It's big.
Oh, this thing is being strategically trying to fool the people.
Listen, that girl that's missing in Dominican Republic, she's still alive. She did not drown. They're trying to convince you that she drowned. Let's all remember that she was on video surveillance at 5:05 a.m. after the fact that he claims that she's, gone missing. She was sex trafficked. Let's be real. All the Dominican workers are in on it. You have to understand this is all just the plot to get more money. And she was a victim. And you guys need to go look for her in the dark web, not under the fucking sea.
Theory, do you believe it's likely she drowned?
No, I do not. I will tell you from my experience from missing persons cases, there would have been some evidence by now that was shown up. This water was searched only, by hundreds of people, by the military, also by boats, by drones, by aircraft. There is nothing shown up whatsoever. You would think even if she was taken by a shark or whatever, there would have been something, her clothes or something would have washed back up to give us some evidence that in fact she was in the water and she drowned. The other thing that bothers me about Ribie, and he claims he passed out, it was 12 hours before anybody found out that she was missing and nowhere to be found.
Like I said, what is there to gain by putting out fake news unless somebody's paying you?
Missing but not forgotten. Let's do our best collectively to crowdsource questions and to look for evidence to bring them home. If it wasn't for online sleuths, then Gabby Petito would not have been brought to justice and her body would not have been located. So understand that I believe in the power of the online sleuth, and that if you want to criticize people like me or people like you that actually want to investigate outside of what we're being told, then so be it. Because my My perspective is I want justice, I want answers, and I want to know what happened to these two beautiful souls. They deserve it. So share this video, because the more people who know, the harder it is to ignore.
This case gets even stranger, as just 2 months ago, 4 tourists drowned in that location. However, their bodies washed ashore just a few hours later without a search. However, Sudiksha is having 300 officers looking, and there's still no body.